He's a TA and he's gonna talk. Let's join Matt for today's TA Talk.
Ocean views for $20. Upgrade to a balcony for $100. Star class for half the price. New York's hottest club is Royal Up. Hey, happy travelers, and welcome to this installment of our new series, the TA Talk, where every week I will be giving you some tips, tricks, insight from the travel agent perspective side of things. So for today's video, I, along with my friends, Jen and Barry, are going to explain to you all about Royal Up, everything you need to know. I get a ton of questions about this as a travel agent, so I thought what better topic for today's video than to dive in deep to that. So let's go ahead and get it started. So what is Royal Up? When I say that, what am I talking about? I am talking about Royal Caribbean, the cruise line, which is Royal Caribbean International, if we're going to be specific. The cruise line we work the most with. Royal Up is their bidding program where you can place a bid to earn a stateroom category upgrade. For example, you're booked in an interior room, but you bid to go to an ocean view or to a balcony, or from a balcony to a suite, that kind of thing. So when they have unsold rooms, upper categories, they can offer them to you as a traveler through the Royal Up program for you to bid on, so that they can earn a little bit of additional money, you can have a better room, and then they can have a chance at selling those lower category rooms last minute. So this is a kind of new program that they've instituted. Other cruise lines have also followed suit. You've seen things with like Celebrity and Norwegian have very similar programs to this. So a lot of what I say today will also apply to those. But just to be clear, I am talking specifically about Royal Up for Royal Caribbean. So how does Royal Up work? Well, once you are 30 days from sailing, that's at least the window at the time of this video, maybe they expand that at some point, but once you're within 30 days of your sailing, you will usually be sent a marketing email from Royal Caribbean that lists out the different opportunities for you to bid on the Royal Up program. You can also access it through their website. If you search Royal Up, we'll put the actual website in the description here, or maybe in the comments so you can access it easily. But you put in your reservation number and your sail date and your ship, and it will then bring up those options as well. It will also tell you if you are outside of the appropriate window to begin placing bids. So what you're going to see is you're going to see those different categories listed. So for example, again, if you're in an interior room, you might see a promenade interior view room, or maybe an ocean view room, maybe a balcony. And as you go up in category that you're originally booked in, you will also go up in category of the different rooms that you can bid on. So if you are already booked in a balcony, you might have the chance for a spacious balcony, but you might also have the chance for a suite. So what you'll be able to do is there is a minimum amount. There's also a maximum amount, which is kind of surprising, but I guess they want to be a little fair to everyone. And you will have a little slider and little numbers you can put in to adjust your bid amount that you are submitting to Royal Caribbean for them to consider, to then award you that upgrade to that respective room. Now, there are some very important notes in how this process works that we need to go over. So first of all, when you make a bid, you are actually bidding for the first 2 people on your reservation. So if there are only 2 people on your reservation, you're good. The bid amount you're submitting is for each of you. So if you do the slider and you put $100, it's $100 per person, so it would be $200 total. And it will summarize all of that before you finalize the bid, so you'll know exactly how much you're bidding. But let's say you have 4 people in the room, or even 6 people in the room. It would only take the bid amount for the first 2 people. So you don't have to worry about bidding for everyone in the room. It's literally just the first 2 that amount will be applied to. Now, what if you're a solo traveler? Well, just like most cruise lines do with booking rooms, they are going to charge you double occupancy. So if you're a single person, solo traveler, you bid $100, your total bid will still be $200, just like it would have been for someone else who was bidding $100. Now, your bids are able to be modified or changed or even canceled as long as they have not been accepted by Royal Caribbean. Once your bid is accepted, it is finalized, There is no going back. You provide your credit card information at the time of doing these bids, submitting them. So if your bid is accepted, your credit card will be instantly charged for that amount that you submitted in your bid, and your upgrade will be instantaneously processed. You cannot cancel it at that point. You cannot go back. However, if your bid has yet to be accepted, you can change it. You can adjust the amount. You can increase it. You can decrease it, or you can cancel it altogether. So you do have full flexibility and freedom as long as that bid has not been accepted. Once again, once it's accepted, that's done. You cannot change it. You cannot go back. You cannot Thanos and reverse time. It is what it is. Some other things to keep in mind with the Royal Up program. If your bid is accepted, you are essentially entering into a guarantee. And for those who don't know what that means, a guarantee is like, for example, if you book an interior guarantee, that means you will have an interior room, but Royal Caribbean is going to assign you the actual room location, the actual room number. So you're guaranteed to have at least that category of room, but it could be anywhere that they choose. So if you do a balcony guarantee, you're at least going to have a balcony. It could technically be higher, though not very likely, especially with the Royal Up program now. But they are choosing the location. So that's the same thing that's happening with a Royal Up bid. Once your bid is accepted and you are moved up, let's say you go from an interior to a balcony, Royal Caribbean is going to choose what balcony room you are assigned to. And you can ask to change it if there is still balcony availability of that same category. What I mean is, for example, if you are booked into, you do a Royal Up and you are placed into a category 4D as in Delta, Ocean View Balcony, you cannot then change to a 2D as in Delta, Ocean View Balcony. But if there was another 4D available, you could potentially change that room. They're a little hit and miss with it. There's actually not too many opportunities to change it because usually at that point that they process these, it's kind of closed out on the inventory. So just keep that in mind that it is going to be a guarantee. They are going to assign you the room location and you have to be willing to accept that. So if you're someone who has a lot of concerns or really any concerns about where your cabin is located, you probably want to steer clear of the Royal Up program because it could be assigned anywhere that category of room is located on the ship. Another important thing to keep in mind that I see come up often is that each bid in the Royal Up program is individual. What I mean by that is, let's say you're traveling and you have 2 staterooms booked and you want to get into a 2-bedroom aqua theater suite, right? That comes available in the Royal Up program. And you're thinking, oh man, this is going to be great. Instead of us having our 2 balcony rooms, we're all going to just move into this 2-bedroom aqua theater suite because it can accommodate all of us. That is not how it works. Each bid is individual. So your first room that places the bid and let's say hypothetically wins the bid for the Aqua Theater Suite will be changed to that room. However, the other reservation will still be in the room that they were booked in, or if they placed a different bid that was accepted, they would then be moved into that room. But you cannot take 2 reservations and then combine them into one through the Royal Up program. That is not possible. However, something that is possible is to bid on unavailable categories. And what I mean by that is at the time the Royal Up bids are offered, you might see, let's say, a junior suite that you can bid on, but there's not any junior suites available for the cruise. You asked your travel agent, or you went online yourself and you looked and you don't see any junior suites. So how can you possibly bid to upgrade to a junior suite? They will offer categories that are not currently available. The reason for that is, 1, there might be a last-minute cancellation and that category does become available, or the more likely scenario is that a junior suite want to bid to move up to a grand suite or to an owner suite or something like that, and thus now their junior suite is unoccupied, so now we can take a bid from a balcony to go up to that. So just keep that in mind. Just because you're bidding on a category does not mean that category is or will be available, but it is possible. The last thing I wanted to touch on with the actual bidding process is I mentioned that you'll go online. You can either use the website or the email that Royal Caribbean sends you to submit those bids. Your travel agent can also do that for you, but they don't have to. I've had a lot of confusion with that because the email that Royal Caribbean sends out says something like, you can ask your travel agent, and people think that means that I have to do it for you. That is not the case. I do not. You can do it yourself. You can do it through the email. You can do it through the website on the link. But I have the ability to submit those for you. given if I have your information to put that in, you tell me what you want. But usually the far easier way is just for you to submit those yourself. So just keep that in mind. Your travel agent does not have to submit Royal Up bids for you. You can do it as the traveler. Now let's go over some of the frequently asked questions with the Royal Up program that will hopefully clear up any confusion, any indecisiveness you might have with using this program, and just kind of paint a clearer picture of what we're talking about. So the first frequently asked question is, the bid that I'm placing, is it per day, per night of the sailing, or is it for the entire cruise? And the answer is, it is for the entire cruise. So again, our hypothetical, if you bid $100, it'll be for the first 2 people in the room, or double for the solo, so $200 total. That is for the entire cruise. It is not per night. If you were on a 4-night sailing, it would not be $800. It would still just be the $200. That bid covers you for your whole sailing. The next question is, do you gain any additional promotions by participating in the Royal Up program? And the answer is kind of yes and no. I'll get to the yes in the next question, but for now, we're going to say no. You're not going to gain onboard credit. Let's say if you booked during a certain, like, buy one, get one 50% off sale, and now the WOW sale is going on, and they have these great prices and onboard credit, and because you did Royal Up, you would get those, right? No, you're not going to have those added on to you. Whatever promotions you had booked when you did your bid, when you did your initial reservation, then did your bid, those will still carry over. So if you did have onboard credit, or you had some kind of promotion added to your initial reservation, that will still stick, but you will not gain anything new. Now, I mentioned there is a follow-up to that that is a bit of a yes, and it's not really in the way of a promotion, but it's more of a benefit or perk or multiple of those. And that is with suites specifically. If, let's say, you are in a balcony cabin and you place a Royal Up bid for a suite and it is accepted and you are then moved into that category of suite, you do receive any suite benefits that come with that category, which can be fantastic and can really save you a ton of money, because a lot of those suites are priced high to begin with, but then just the value of those benefits coming your way. And yes, that does apply to ships that have the Royal Suite class. So if you get a Star class room, you will have the Royal Genie. You'll have the unlimited dining package. You'll have the deluxe beverage package, the Wi-Fi, the gratuities. All that stuff will be included, just like if you had paid for that suite outright. So that is really where you have the opportunity to get some bang for your buck, is moving up in those, because obviously if you move from an interior to an ocean view, or an ocean view to a balcony, you're going to have a better stateroom, a bigger stateroom perhaps, but you're not typically going to get all these additional benefits. However, moving up into a suite, you do get those benefits applied for your cruise. So how awesome is that? You didn't have to pay for that loft suite. You paid on a bid. You booked a balcony room and then did a bid to get that loft suite, but now you're getting all the benefits that come with it. Now, of course, those are very competitive bids, so you're going to probably have to pay up for them and have to have a fair bit of luck on your side to get them. But if you do, it really can be a nice windfall. But one other frequently asked question that kind of dovetails off that last one, it's very important to note, one thing you will not get if you Royal Up and move into a suite is double Crown and Anchor points. So for those who don't know, Crown and Anchor Society, Royal Caribbean's loyalty program, typically you get 1 point per night of your sailing. Unless you're a solo traveler, then that is double. And if you stay in a suite, you do get double points. So if you were traveling and you were getting 1 point a night on a 7-night cruise, 7 points. But if you were staying in a suite, you would get 14 points. Again, solo traveler works out on the math a little bit differently, but just typically, if you have a larger party, that's how that would work. However, if utilizing the Royal Up program, you do not get double Crown and Anchor points. Your Crown and Anchor points are based on the reservation that you actually paid for and booked into. So if you book a suite, double points. If you book an interior ocean view balcony or whatever and Royal Up to a suite, you do not receive double Crown and Anchor points. Oh, but one other thing to keep in mind is that if you are upgraded through Royal Up to a suite, you will have to pay the gratuity amounts for being in a suite. So some suites do carry a higher gratuity rate than standard rooms do. So if you do win one of those suites through the Royal Up program, you will be responsible for paying those additional gratuities. Another question that's commonly asked is, what happens if my bid isn't accepted? and it basically just goes away. It's deleted, it's forgotten about, you're not charged anything. That's the important thing to keep in mind. You're not charged anything up front, you're only charged if your bid is accepted. So if your bids are not accepted, they get canceled out and they are forgotten about. Another thing to keep in mind is that if you cancel your reservation, your Royal Up bids are also canceled out as well. So you don't have to worry about that. That would just be taken care of and deleted as well. Even Royal Up bids that have been accepted will actually be canceled out and refunded if you do cancel your reservation. So if you were upgraded, let's say from an interior to an ocean view, and then for whatever reason you had to cancel your reservation, the bid amount that you actually placed and was accepted will be canceled and refunded to you. So that's actually pretty nice to know. And from my side of things, on the travel agent perspective, I do have clients ask if Royal Up is commissionable to us. And just because that does get asked, I didn't want to cover it. Yes, it is. So if you place a bid and it's accepted, we will receive commission at the same rate that we would your normal cruise fare for that bid amount. So you don't have to worry about this kind of circumventing your travel agent or anything like that. Royal Caribbean rightfully and thankfully takes care of us in that regard. One of the most frequently asked questions with Royal Up program is, when will I know? When will I find out if my bid was accepted or not? And the answer is, technically it could be any time from when you submit that bid to 2 days before sailing. At least that's what Royal Caribbean quotes. Technically, I've heard people say that they found out about a Royal Up bid once they got on board. That doesn't seem to be as common. I have seen ourselves where we were told our bid was not accepted once we got on board the ship. But I think I have read about some people who found out theirs was accepted and they did get an upgrade once they got on board, which must have been a great surprise. But normally the quoted time is any time from when you place the bid up until 2 days before sailing. So again, we were talking about if you're someone who has to know where your room is going to be located or you need input on that, you might not want to do Royal Up. The same thing if you're not okay with kind of being in a purgatory waiting period and wanting to know where you're going to be, there will be an element of that to this. So if that doesn't make you comfortable, you might want to steer clear of Royal Up. But if you're okay with it, proceed. And our final frequently asked question with the Royal Up program is it worth it? I have gotten asked that more times than I can count. Is the Royal Up program legit? Is it worth it? It is 100% legitimate. There's no doubt about that. Is it worth it? The great thing is it's very difficult typically to answer the question, is it worth it? Because worth is such a subjective thing. But because you get to decide the bid amount, you get to decide if it's worth it. If you don't think paying $500 to go up to a balcony is worth it, don't do it. Bid $100, bid $250, whatever you think is worth bidding, you can place that amount on your bid. Now, it may not be accepted, but you get to determine and dictate the worth and the value of moving up through these different categories. Now, if you're asking my personal and professional opinion, we have won Royal Up bids before. We've won it with other cruise lines and their similar programs. I 100% think it's worth it. There is a caveat to that. You want to make sure that the bid amount you're placing does not exceed the amount you would pay just to upgrade outright, because that can happen. I mentioned they put a maximum bid amount, but don't be fooled. They will have that sometimes go over the amount that you would just pay. So if you were booked in an interior room and then you said, hey, Matt, I want to upgrade. I want to go to a balcony. I might come back to you and say, okay, that'll cost $500 more. Whereas the maximum bid on a Royal Up might be $800 or something like that. Obviously, that would not be worth it. You wouldn't want to do the bid. You would want to just pay outright to upgrade. Typically, that is not the case. Usually, the bid amounts that you're going to be placing are going to be substantially less than the amount you would pay to upgrade outright. So overall, I think it is very worth it, especially when you're considering the possibility of going to a suite. Like I mentioned, with all of those inherent suite benefits, I really think you can't go wrong in that aspect. Did you see that? The spider signal! And you know what that means? It's time for this week's mailbag. Spider-Man Potato Head swinging in with this week's questions. Every week we will ask you to send your questions, your inquiries for me on these videos so that I can answer them and give you my travel agent perspective on things. So you'll feel free to leave those in the comments of this video, and we'll do a weekly post on YouTube and Instagram where you can also post your comments or your questions or your inquiries there. And as I like to mention in every video, just because your question wasn't answered in today's video, it might be answered in a future video where it is more relevant. So just keep that in mind. Let's answer a few questions. Question number 1 comes from Jared's videos on YouTube. How do I know you are protecting my information you receive as required to make bookings, i.e. birthday, passport info, driver's license, etc.? That's a very good question. Obviously, we take those things very seriously. We put privacy and security at the forefront of what we do. We don't want anyone to have any issues. So we make sure if you go on our website, if you were to see our email server or even our back-end site of our system, they all have the lock at the top by the URL because they are secured, and we do not get willy-nilly with that information. We put it in where we need to put it in with the cruise line system, just the same as you would at home. Really no difference in that. Next question is from Pam Kemmerer on YouTube. What benefits do we get using travel agent services like yours rather than booking on your own? I'm looking forward to this upcoming video. I think it'll be helpful to everyone. Well, thank you so much, Pam. And I'm actually planning on doing a video dedicated to that exact topic in this series coming up sometime in the not too distant future. So hold tight on that. I'll do a deep dive for that. But just really quickly, think about it. There's really no benefit to booking on your own. You're just getting the booking. When you book through us, you're getting the booking for free, no fees, costs whatsoever. But then we'll be there to help you answer your questions, modify the booking, be the liaison, call them so you don't have to call, price monitor your booking, all that jazz. All right, next up, we have from Instagram, Low End Garden asks, is it cheaper to book through you for a sandals vacation or book when on site? So typically our prices with sandals are the exact same because we are booking you direct with them. Now they do offer the loyalty and travel bookings on site. They do offer that additional discount, and that is difficult to beat. So if you have the opportunity to book on site, we would encourage you to do so. A lot of people want to book on site and then transfer to our agency to manage, which we would love. Unfortunately, Sandals does not permit that. If you were to book on their website, you can transfer to us within 14 days. But if you booked on site, you cannot transfer to a travel agent unless that travel agent sent you on that trip that you then book the next trip on site on. Then you can send it to us. It's kind of weird and no one understands it, but that's the way it is. All right, one last final question for this week's mailbag, and it comes to us from Melissa Waldner on Instagram. Actually, and she leads off, not a question, but thanks for being great travel agents. We appreciate you always helping us out. Thank you so much, Melissa. We appreciate it. It's always our pleasure, and that's what we like to do. We like to build those relationships with our clients to help them provide that service. It's not about sales for us. It's about service, assisting people, letting them go out and have some happy travels of their own. And with that said, I want to thank you for joining us for today's installment of the TA Talk. Stay tuned because you know we'll have another episode coming your way very, very shortly. Again, encourage you to leave some questions for the next video's mailbag in the comments down below, and look out for those posts that'll be coming where you can also submit them there on the YouTube channel and on Instagram. So we will see you, me and Spidey Potato Head and Jen and Barry, of course. We will all see you in the next episode. But until then, we're signing off. Happy travels!